This episode of Beauty by Abic podcast is brought to you by Millionaire Salon Coach.
Hello and welcome to the Beauty by Abic podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Here, we are strengthening and unifying the industry through representation, innovation, and education. This is a platform created and dedicated to the aesthetic and beauty industry, valuing unity and advancement. We serve to represent, support, and inspire you by connecting you with industry experts, expanding your knowledge through educational pieces, and bringing you the latest industry news. This is Beauty by Abic.
I'm your host, Nicole Montgomery, and today's guest is Andy Heyne from Millionaire Salon Coach. Andy understands firsthand the challenges of being in business and everything that comes with business ownership. CEO of Millionaire Salon Coach and mineral makeup brand Face by R, Andy also successfully runs the Skin Coaches Salon alongside his wife. With a growing family and multiple businesses, he has been through it all, from the pandemic to staffing and financial challenges. His commitment to help other salon owners break free of the daily grind and find the financial freedom to live the life they desire is his sole purpose and passion. Millionaire Salon Coach programs are designed to help salon and business owners build financially free beauty salons by aligning their mission, vision, and core values. He's dedicated to helping salon owners create the life they deserve. Here to talk to us about identifying opportunities for business growth from Millionaire Salon Coach today, we welcome Andy Heyne. Hi, Andy. Welcome to the podcast, Beauty by Abic. How are you today?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Nicole. Very well. I hope you're going well yourself. Also, thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate the time and effort from you guys. So it's great.
Oh, that's so kind of you. I'm going to go straight into it. Growing a salon or a clinic is not an easy task, or any business. What are some common challenges you see, and how do you turn these challenges into opportunities and areas for growth?
Okay, cool. Perfect. Well, I love this question. So we know there's an array of challenges. So I love how you asked what are some common challenges. A lot that I find, I face these challenges as well in our clinics. A lot that I find when I go to coach clients is they don't really have a clear growth plan. So what do I mean when I say that? When I say clear growth plan, I'm more talking about when we first start the business or the salon, they understand that they no longer want to work for somebody else, which is fantastic. I love that move. It takes risk and it's bold, so that's great. But then we hop into it. We go, okay, awesome. I need to service clients, which is also going to build my clientele. Fantastic. Now I'm starting to build a team, which is great. And then we get a team together, and that's sort of as far as the vision really goes. We're not too sure of what the next step is. And why it's important to have a clear growth plan is because you will be able to grow your teams bigger, inspire them easier, and possibly expand more locations and increase your revenue, because we don't get into business so we can just be comfortable in life, right? Like nobody does that, because the stress you put into it, the hard work you put from start to where you are now, where you're trying to get to, it takes energy out of your family, out of your own life, takes all this extra stuff from you as a person that, we need to reap the rewards the best we can. So having a clear growth plan is absolutely vital. So exactly where you're going to, how you get there is completely different, but where you are going to end up eventually. So that's probably the biggest one that I see a lot. And that comes a lot around what your mission statement is, what your vision statement is. Do you have core values that you operate by? Obviously, every human does, but do you have them up on a wall? Are they printed out? Do your team know what they are? Do you know what they are for you, and actually in order of importance? So those sort of things too. So it's more about looking inside ourselves before we can really start to project outwards. That would be the biggest one. The next one I see a lot, I talk to a lot about, is team alignment. So this is sort of two parts. If you're a solo or home-based salon and you don't have a team, then obviously the clear growth plan, or having a growth plan, is the area you want to build on until you start to build a team. But if you have a team behind you, when we have teams, we forget, like I mentioned a bit earlier, the team alignment process is where it can all start to sort of fall apart, because we have so many different personalities in our salons and in our clinics, right? Which we want. We don't want everybody to be exactly the same. Everybody needs to bring their own edge and their own flame and their own zest to life, right, in your salon. But when we have so many different personalities and we don't align them all, we don't have them all going in the same direction with the salon's mission and vision, they all sort of start to wander and sort of start to do their own things within the clinic. They do their job tasks, they look after their clients, but we're all sort of running our own race, so to speak. So, and team alignment for me is massive. It shows the team a few things: that you care, that you're really invested in them as a person. And this is actually going to go for, if you're a home-based salon and you're looking at employing teams, because I don't want to exclude home-based salons either when I'm talking about team alignment. So when we're going to do this, this is a really key concept to follow to make sure that you have this in place before you start building your team. So this information is directed for you also. So when we have all that, they know they're inspired, right? They start to feel inspired and they know that the business and as us as the leaders care about them. Humans have a burning desire to feel important. So they need to fit in somewhere. They feel like they need to be important in someone's life, right? And if they spend more time at work than they do anywhere else, we all do, right? We spend more time at work pretty much than we do with anybody else, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We need to do that to supply for our families. But if we're there more often than not, then what are we doing to make sure that we are providing that environment for our teams when we're going to build our teams, that they feel that way, that they know that they're there so often, that we're the place to be, right? So I gave a lot of information then, but really go back, rewind this podcast, decipher the information, especially, like I said, if you're a home-based salon, pull information out, start to build yourself a team alignment plan. But if you have a team, it's also really fantastic. Use the pieces, find out how you can start to align your team with this information. And then the next couple ones, really quickly, mindset is a massive one. So these are the areas for growth. I won't take too much longer on these, but mindset is super important. Your inner world creates your outer world. So how you speak to yourself, the words you think to yourself, the thoughts you actually have will create everything that is around you or is not around you. So if you aren't living the life you truly desire, it's because our mindset, our self-belief, and our worthiness isn't where it should be as a human and as a leader. And there's a whole range of things why that happens, but I won't go too long on that. But really, our mindset is key. If we can focus on strengthening our minds every single day, then that'll actually, everything else I've spoken about will start to fall into place on its own, just out of habit. And then our numbers, we didn't get into the industry to understand numbers. I'm not an accountant. I don't want to go to high school, all this stuff, right? Numbers aren't my thing. But if we don't know our numbers, how do we know the health of our business? How do we know the areas of improvement that we can have? How do we know that we might not need or might need to increase the prices of our services and our products? If we don't know our numbers, we don't have control over all these things in life. Numbers talk, numbers walk, numbers make everything grow, right? We all know that in business. So numbers are so vital. And then obviously controlling our time. That's the biggest one, 100%. So out of all that information I gave you, they're the absolutely key ones, the common ones I see. Absolutely vital. I'm sure everyone can resonate and look back to a time where, they definitely had that. But the last one is definitely controlling your time.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good segue, because I think that for a lot of small business owners, especially in this industry and after the, last couple of years of COVID, oh my goodness, everyone does tend to at some stage feel completely overwhelmed, completely snowed under. There's not enough times in the, not enough time, in the day, not enough time in the month or the year. And, no matter how well or how hard we try, time management is near impossible. And if you've got a family as well, juggling a family, juggling your business, trying to manage a team, all these things, it's near impossible. What would you recommend, and how do you help clinics to, implement better time management strategies?
Yeah, okay, cool, perfect. I love this. So I want to start this off by saying, stick with me here, everybody. This is going to be really important. We either focus on time management or we focus on time control. So what that means is it's really important to understand words and how they can affect us. Like I said, inner world, outer world. So management actually, the word management itself actually means to handle or direct with a certain skill. So just to handle or sort of direct in a certain way. But then control means to have power over. So for us to have control, we want to have power over our time. We don't just want to handle or direct our time. We want to have power over our time. So I like to use the phrase time control rather than time management, because I want to have the power over my time. And how we do that, first of all, I want to step away outside of the business for a moment. This is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but everyone will know exactly what I'm saying. So when it comes to controlling our time, the first places we should really look at as well, because we get more stressed out at home. I understand that I've got 2 young boys myself, got an amazing partner. We both work full time. You know, I run the 3 companies in the beauty industry. I don't say that to be impressive. I say that just to, you know, bring awareness that, you know, we all have a lot going on. At home, if you have the ability to delegate some tasks, and I mean the really boring jobs, you know, the ironing or the washing or the cleaning the house. I'm not saying get somebody full time to do it, but if you could hire someone or pay somebody 2 days a week to clean your house, just for 2 selected days for 3 hours, you know, 2 days, 6 hours a week to clean your home, that could give you 6 hours of free time or time freed up to do whatever it is that you want to put your energy towards. So that's what I mean. So we can start to look at our lives outside of the business, outside of the salon, what we're doing. That is actually going to help you achieve what you need to achieve a lot faster. So I'm not even going to touch on the clinic. Same thing as delegating. Actually, I will touch on that quickly. Same thing. If you have teams behind you, it's a bit easier to delegate your tasks. If you're a solopreneur or you're a home-based salon to start with, or for now, look at the descriptions that I just gave you in terms of cleaning and washing. It can be anything that you do not want to do. Find somebody that can do it for a couple of hours a week for you, and that can actually add a massive difference to you controlling your time.
Absolutely. I'm going to throw you a curveball. You keep mentioning mindset. When people do feel, you know, really overwhelmed and are in a really negative spiral, how do you help them come out of that?
Mindset's sort of my jam. I love talking about mindset only because, you know, I put a lot of work into it myself growing up, and I wasn't in a real good place when I was a young kid. So how do people get out of it? First, I do it through just talking to people. A lot of the times people just want someone to listen to, right? They want a listening board. But, you know, obviously when they're paying me to coach them or mentor them, obviously I do listen for a little bit and I find key information that they're looking for, but then it's all about asking the right question. So I've taken something really powerful away from my mentors and my coaches. The quality of your question will determine the quality of your outcome. So if I'm trying to figure out where their mindset is and where they're falling short and why, you know, they're a bit frustrated or what it is, it's not always their first response. It's just something that their brain is used to saying. So for example, oh, my kids are so full on. That's great. That could definitely be one. But okay, right. So when you say your kids are full on, what do you mean? So you just dig a little bit deeper, because other things start to pop up where you know, they might come to, I don't have enough time with my kids. I'm feeling a little bit guilty as a parent because I'm too busy doing washing or ironing. So you can see how when you ask the right question, you dig a little deeper. It helps me understand where they're really at rather than what the first response is. So it's just really, really powerful listening and just asking the right questions, really, and let them being empathetic, letting them know I understand, acknowledging what they're saying, that they're not alone. We're humans, we make mistakes. So don't ever expect yourself to be perfect. If you stuff up, go, oh, well, you know, I made a mistake. So does everybody. How do I learn from that? But it's just reassuring them that they're humans. So it's okay to not be perfect or be where you want to be.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned that life was not always easy for you. Do you think sometimes these challenges that we face, like you know, going through COVID and lockdown and whatnot, you know, actually in some way benefit us moving forward?
Yep, it can do. 100% it can do. So with COVID, I found a lot of people, and there's a lot of research coming out that people started to find themselves a little bit more when they were at home so much. They started to really figure out what they valued as a person, what they started to value as a business owner, and, you know, as a family person, as a community leader. So it did really help some people, but other people not so much. And in terms of what you mentioned earlier, Nicole, with me not being in the right headspace earlier, that was completely way before COVID. That was just being a young naive teenager.
If it's that life experience, whether it's personal or, professional, that really does, help, I guess, shape your future and your resilience.
It does, yeah. 1,000%. I love what you said just there. We can either dwell on our past and use it as excuses moving forward, or we can look back and only dip back there for a split second. Never stay in your past unless you're going to use what you're going back for to get yourself even further forward. So I like to use a rubber band analogy. If you're going back to your past, you only use it. So imagine you're holding a rubber band in your left hand, and in your right hand, you've got the rubber band, you're stretching it back, right? That's the only time you go back to your past. And then that rubber band that you're pulling in your right hand, if you let it go, you're going to shoot yourself forward. So you're going to project yourself into the future or into the present. That's the only time you dip back into your past. Never stay there. Use it to learn and grow.
That is so cool. What a great analogy. So obviously it takes more than just ourselves to create and run an empire. Rarely successful businesses or salons are just one person and one man band. Obviously, there's always a supportive team who are a huge, asset to the growth of that business. How can clinic owners, attract the right team and then inspire them to, to really treat the business as if it was their own and help you grow that business?
So there's a 4-stage process: attract, align, develop, and retain. So first of all, we need to attract the right candidates for our clinic, right? We need to attract the right team members. And that can come from a whole range of things. So I only touch on it, but I do have a whole process around coaching programs that I offer to people, I generally build around called the Beauty Salon Success Code. So how we attract them comes down to a range of things. How our ads written, what sort of personality traits we're looking for, what we're not looking for. So you got to really be clear on those things, be clear on the job task and the role you are after, rather than just a qualified therapist, because that can mean anybody and anything. And generally 65-70% of the time, a lot of them don't work out because our things are so vague. We're not really we're not super clear. And if it's super clear, it's going to be harder to find somebody to attract the right candidate, which is, obviously not ideal at this time. I know everybody's stressing for workers. I get that. But we want to find the right person rather than wasting time on the wrong people. And why that helps is when we find the right person, it helps us get them inspired because they're on track from day one. And that's how we keep them. That's how we get our teams to help us grow our businesses and our salons. Through inspiration. What are their goals? What do they want to achieve out of life? And I'm not saying what are their goals and what do they like in terms of food and wine and where they go for holidays. All that stuff's great, but that's not deep enough to understand the person, that therapist in your clinic. We need to know what inspires them, why they are working there, and why they show up every single day in the bubbly attitude. And if they're not, we can refer back to what inspires them. So this comes down to goal alignment. I know I'm showing a lot out here, but I'll quickly just do a little tiny recap so we can sort of come back or you can rewind it. So we need to learn how to attract them, align them, develop them, and then retain them. So I won't cover off all 4 of those because it's a whole process. It'll take up too much time. But if you do really want to do it, just reach out and let me know. Send me a message or contact me and I can run you through the whole process of team development to help them grow your business. But when it comes down to when we know what truly inspires them, they're more dedicated because they know, like I said at the previous, you're there to look after them. They know that you truly care about who they are as a person, their skill set, what they do in their own personal life, what struggles, what challenges they have, what successes they have. And that gives them the mindset of, okay, well, why would I have the need to go anywhere else?
Did you know that 62% of clients who have business coaches regard their coach as their best friend and confidant? Millionaire Salon Coach helps build financially free beauty salons by aligning your mission, vision, and core values. By working with Millionaire Salon Coach, you'll improve your ability to run a successful salon as well as increase your personal success and quality of life. Through Millionaire Salon Coaching programs, clients will learn how to build a solid financial foundation in their business which will result in lower stress levels, an increase in self-confidence, and a more strategic approach to their business. Millionaire Salon Coach is offering our listeners 30% off selected services. Visit millionairesaloncoach.com and enter the code ABIC during checkout. Increase your salon's revenue, freedom, and abundance by contacting Millionaire Salon Coach today.
And then that's how we build our teams. We have to build them through inspiration. We've got to educate them as well, right? We want to educate ourselves as people. We want to grow. We want to constantly expand our mindset. Okay, how can I do better at my job? So we need to also do all that for them. We need to have education courses, training courses for them. And outside of modality training as well, and which I know is highly important, but a lot of the time we don't focus on getting our team on mindset training or mindset education, because they need to be on the same mindset and same inspiration level that you're trying to promote. Otherwise, they're going to become disconnected. In a long-winded way, Nicole, and for everybody listening, that is the answer to that question. There's so much more involved in that. I could talk for a whole hour, 2 hours just on that one topic. So I'll leave that there for now.
But I think there was such an amazing answer, and it's so true, and it made me. So many things came to my mind. I was thinking about people's different love languages, and I was thinking of times where employers have given gifts to me, or I've worked somewhere and different things, and the person hasn't appreciated it or liked it. And in some cases, it can actually make you feel like these people don't know me at all, because you're being given a gift, or you're being given something as like a token. I can think of one example where I worked at a company, and a sales rep, did the most sales in that quarter. And, for selling this particular device, being the first one that sold it, and for having the most sales, he got a $500 pen. Yeah. And this is like a really camp, sales rep who really had no appreciation for pen. And it was like, who writes? Because, in this day and age, we all text, we type, we email. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and he did such a great job. And it would have been so easy if they'd just asked the question, or even taken the time to think, all right, let's look at his personality and what, he might like or he might appreciate. Yeah. Really, really great advice. My goodness. There's so many things that we just overlook. And I suppose that's the benefit of having a coach, because you don't know what you don't know.
100%. I love that saying. I appreciate saying all the time, you don't know what you don't know. And that's great. And that's a prime example. The story you just gave, Nicole, perfect example of not knowing what inspires and what really drives your team members.
Yeah, and he definitely didn't do as well the following quarter. So talking about sales, how on earth do we get people to sell more? One of the areas that can contribute, obviously, to you mentioned numbers before, and we're not all accountants, but we all know that sales equals profits, equals the business growing, equals more staff, and makes the world go round. How do we get there?
I want to say easy, but it's easier said than done. First of all, we need to understand that we like to refer to ourselves in this industry as we're not sales people. I don't want to be salesy. I know I need to do my job. I don't want to be pushy. But it doesn't matter what you do in life. Every single person on this planet is a salesperson. Let me quickly touch on that before everyone's like, what do you mean? If you've got a partner, you have to sell yourself to them about why they should be with you, and vice versa. You didn't think you were selling, but you were selling indirectly, and so were they to you. When you go to buy a house, you got to sell yourself to the buyer that the number is the right number. When you go to a bank loan, you got to sell yourself to the bank that you're worthy enough of you receiving their money. So everything we do in everyday life, we are salespeople. But back to our salons and our clinics, what we can do is really let's debunk the myth of, trying to be too salesy. Because we don't want to be, the old typical car salesperson or anything like that. We can sell to our clients, but we need to sell effectively. And how do we do that? We need to sell effectively to our clients through the power of communication. So I want to say that again, because it's really important. We can sell effectively to our clients through the power of communication. So we do that. Like I said at the start, the quality of your question determines the quality of your outcome. if we dig deeper into what our clients' true skin concerns are, not what we as professionals or you as a professional might think that it is. They might have a few acne spots over their face or acne scarring, and you might think that's what they're concerned about. But it might not be. They might have pigment, they might have some rosacea that they're more concerned about. But we don't dig deep enough to think that's what they're concerned. They might be happy with the acne. They might be like, you know what, leave the acne there. That's not my concern. But if we don't ask the right questions, we are never going to get the right outcome. And when they go, oh yeah, I think, no, acne is definitely a problem. If you hear that, acne is definitely a problem, that's not a real confident answer from your client. Oh, it's definitely a problem. That's not them saying that's exactly what I want to solve today. And we're okay, awesome. So then we think to ourselves, or our team thinks to themselves, okay, acne is it then. She said it's definitely a problem. To me, that's not a real confident answer. So we have to dig a little bit deeper, just through power of community, asking the right questions, and they're going to dig out exactly what their true skin concern is. So that's how we do it, through the power of communication. We do that. We're able to upgrade services a lot faster. We're able to put our clients on a faster ascension plan. We can sell more products to them because we've actually touched to their true pain point or their true skin concern, not what we think it is. So really, it's just doing that right questions, really listening, acknowledging what they're saying. And really, there's a whole method that we do from the moment they're in the room. So if you're doing a facial, right, there's a whole process you can do from when they're on the bed to when they come out of the room, sit down, and then you sit them down and do your presentation to offer them the products. And we can't be in that much of a hurry that we rush them through and we don't have time to sit our clients down and buy them the product. If we do, we've done them a disservice and our clinic a disservice as well. We need to sit them down after their treatment and then talk to them about their products. But we've got to refer some of the products, some of the home prescriptives back to what we used in the room. So that's when we start to touch on the senses, the smell, the feel. We start to touch on the human senses back when we're doing our product presentation, right? And that's a lot of key vital steps that we miss. That's in terms of the client. There's another whole process there. Like, man, I've got a whole course and I've got everything on it. Power of communication is absolutely fantastic. And the more better we can harness it, the better off we'll be. And then it comes down to now, so that's relatable to home-based salons or clinics, with teams. And now this is going to be more directed to clinics with teams. So if you sit down, it's all about your confidence in your communication. So how confident are you or your team in prescribing products? So you've got 5, 6 products there. What's that? $300, $400, $500, $600 worth of home prescriptives. And if you're not confident in that price that you as a person would pay for that, your client is going to say no almost 100% of the time because you don't believe that you're worthy or you think you are deserving of paying $600 worth of product, or that's going to put you in financial stress. If you sell $600 worth of products with a mindset of stress in your own mind, your client will say no and probably take 1 or 2 products. So we need to make sure that we are confident in that we believe that what we are selling them is absolutely what they need. So even take away the $600, it might be a little bit much. If it's a little bit less, it doesn't matter what the value is. If some clients aren't taking their products home, there's a breakdown between when they were in the room to the moment they left with their communication almost 98% of the time. The other 2% of the time is generally service. And they're probably the major areas that I would really look at and really focus on.
I think you've really a few times reiterated the importance of being a good listener.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're all when we think of communication, I think of talking, and we're all actually probably really good talkers, but we're not so good at listening. Yeah,
I used to do the same thing. When I first started out coaching or really starting to lead the team, I would say, oh well, I definitely know what the problem is here. This is exactly the problem, because that's what frustrated me, right? Frustrated me as a leader. So I was like, that's got to be the problem. So now I try and talk to the team about it that way. And I was just getting no response back whatsoever. And I was like, well, that's obviously not the problem. And that's how we really learned to start listening and asking the right questions. And, like you said, it's, as experts, and all we want to do is help. We want to genuinely help, be authentic in helping. And we try and do our best. I think, we'll actually say communication, the best form of communication is how you listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you give an example of a salon that you've coached and been able to, to help in turning around their sales and their mindset?
Yep, 100%. So there's a lady who started with me after the first 2 sessions. She had doubled her sales, doubled them sales in that first day. And then as the weeks went on, she started to make $200, $300 sales, every single week or every single day, per certain clients. Whereas before, she was only really selling, she's a home-based salon lady. She might have only been seeing, 5 or 6 clients a day and maybe only selling 1 or 2 products that whole day. And my goal to start with was to get her to sell 1 product to every single client. And after our second session, so it was about 2 weeks, she almost had 100% success rate. She was about a 95% success rate of selling every single person a single product. So I like to focus on starting small. And then another clinic that we did from year 2020 to 2021, I put it up on my socials a fair bit, blast all the results that I'd like to achieve. Obviously, I don't achieve it on my own. I just help people recognize and unlock things in themselves that they might not be aware of. So one clinic from the financial year 2020 to 2021 had, in the 12-month period, had a revenue increase. So they were stuck at about $1.2 million. They had a revenue increase that year of over $261,000, just from unlocking the power of product sales and communication, right? And that was like sort of in the middle of COVID, the arse end of COVID, excuse the language, at the back end of COVID. So it really goes to show that now the power that we're out of that, we're back to full force and back to full life, that the power of growth, hopefully, projected will be, probably around about another 320, 330. So they should be hitting roughly the 1.3, 1.4, hopefully $1.5 million in annual revenue in the next year and a half. So it's so powerful. It doesn't matter what size you are. It's the same concept. The same concept, no matter how many people you have, it's the same concept: communication, alignment, and inspiration.
Do you think that a coach helps to validate you? Because, maybe, I don't know if it's an Australian thing, that people get scared of success. There's that tall poppy syndrome and people are going to cut you down. And as soon as you do start to do well, people start to sort of throw in those narky comments and whatnot. And by having a coach, you've got someone there as your cheerleader reminding you that, no, you're actually doing really well and, you're on the right path.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. So this comes from a lot of things. This is a huge topic in life. And this is something I really dig into when I start my coaching with clients. I really like to understand what drives them, what scares them, where they're sort of at with their mindset game. A coach definitely does help to do that, but I want to give everybody a key tip here. If you do have a pen and paper, write this down and put it in bold letters. You never have to validate yourself for anybody. You never have to validate yourself for anybody or to anybody. If you find yourself in that position or in that state, you need to either get rid of that person if you can, or get them on the same page. If you find yourself validating who you are, your results, why you're doing this, why you're doing that, you are talking to the wrong people. Me as a coach, I don't validate people and I don't want them to validate themselves to me. I'm more of an accountability person. You do what you say you're going to do. If you didn't do it, why didn't you do it? Then my job here is to keep you accountable, get you back on the same track. So more to your point, Nicole, I love the question that you asked, but I do not believe in validation whatsoever. And that does happen. It is massive in Australia. When we have success, you said it right, tall poppy syndrome. I talked to a lot of Americans. I've been to America heaps, people in the UK. A lot of the time, success for them is they love it. They wear it like they should. They wear it with confidence. They wear it with pride. And so should we in Australia. We don't. Here's another concept we need to get used to that I like to teach that a lot of people aren't comfortable with. And I never used to be either, right? It's our network. We built such a close network, friends, family. Family is the toughest one, but I'll touch on that in a minute. So when we start to grow at a rapid rate, we are fearful, well, this will actually happen. If you are becoming the most successful person in your circle, you will eventually leave everybody behind. And we don't want to do that. We're too fearful of going into the unknown, of uncertainty, and maybe finding people that are going to now align with our level of success. So we need to be okay with you achieving success, right? Because your friends, if everything falls to the face of the earth, like COVID nearly did, I bet you didn't see any of your friends handing you money. Nobody else is trying to pay your mortgage, pay for your kids' school fees, your food. So you get what I'm saying here. Now, it sounds a little harsh, but we need to be okay with wearing success like you've deserved it and you've earned it because you have. You need to wear it with pride and confidence. Get rid of the old tall poppy syndrome. We've all suffered from it. It is an Australian thing, literally. I think it's only in Australia, which is wild, but anyway, it is. And you're always going to have haters. No matter where you are, it's going to happen. But you stay in your lane. That's why I said earlier, mission, vision, and core values. If you stick to those things, your mission and your vision, you will not worry about what people say because you know why you were doing what you were doing. And if that does happen, it's time to expand your network, really surround yourself with the right people, 100%. So I hope I answered that question, but it's really important. That topic's a tricky one. People don't like it. And it's generally your family that'll hold you back.
Yeah, no, it's so difficult, but you've given us so many amazing tips, and I've written things down here. The qualities of my questions will be much better, especially to my children. They're always a challenge. I can't thank you enough for your time today. Thank you so much, and all of this incredible advice. We really appreciate it, and the community, I'm sure, will love it, and will, of course, reach out to you, individually to get your help and spend some time with you to grow their business.
Yep, fantastic, Nicole. Thank you for that. I really appreciate the shout out. That was awesome. Key thing about podcasts is if you can't get the whole thing in at once, find key segments, listen to it 2 to 3 times, and really take out different nuggets. You'll take out different pieces of information all the time. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen, jump on, grow themselves and their business. And I also thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you all for inviting me on here, giving me the time to really add value and hopefully add some inspiration to people's lives and their businesses.
Oh, I've definitely learned a ton of stuff, and I could keep talking. We could keep going and going because every time you speak, I think of more questions. So I need to, hop on the website and book some time.
I'll be waiting for you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Beauty by ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay connected.